In today's video, we're looking at the image stabilization from the latest Panasonic firmware update, and we're also looking at how to record with and edit proxy files. So in my last video, I looked at all the latest features that were included in the latest firmware update. However, the image stave test was a little bit flawed. I was using a Sigma 150 to 600 and I've got a bad arm, so not the greatest test. However, I'm quickly finding out that using this Panasonic S5II with this 24 to 105 lens on a monopod so I can get reach is also not so great on the old arms, but it should be a lot better than the previous test. So at the moment, I'm walking around this really nice, pretty graveyard and trying not to trip over, and this is without image stabilization on at all. Now, the reason I've got a monopod is because when you start adding image stab, it starts to crop in a little bit the picture, which means I'm going to have to extend the monopod to compensate. For the latest update, that will increase by 1.4 times. So we're going to show you what that looks like. But first, we're going to work our way through the modes. Okay, so this is mode 1. This is just with the standard image stabilization turned on, so there's no boost to video or anything. So let me know how this looks, and I'll explain the settings for my proxies. So all you have to do is go into the menus, look for proxy recording, and you'll have 3 options. There's 2 HD options. One will record at 12 megabits per second, one at 6, and I think the smallest one is 4 megabits per second. So I've selected HD at 6 megapixels, so just down the middle. And then in the edit later, I'll show you how I can convert those files into proper full resolution video files. Now I just walked into a little dip there. So how's this looking? I'm just literally walking backwards and forwards and around circles just to give you an idea of how this image stabilization is actually working. Let's switch it up a little bit and we'll change modes. Okay, so this is the first boost mode. This is with E-Stabilization on, and it is just in standard mode at the moment. And how is this looking? Has it improved at all? It's just looking smoother. Bearing in mind, I am walking around a very, very uneven path at the moment, so some of that shake is going to be due to me because there's little dips in the path like that. But overall, is this doing well? Am I doing well at holding this monopod? It's definitely not great on my old shoulder. So why do we record in proxies? Well, simply put, video files are now huge and data heavy and very, very demanding on your editing software, unless you've got a super PC or one of these latest Mac computers. So recording a smaller HD file allows you to edit that footage a lot smoother, and then that footage can be changed back to the 4K resolution once you've finished everything. So really it's about efficiency. Otherwise your computer might be stop-starting all of the time, which is just a pain in the butt. And if you've got Premiere Pro like me, probably crashes all the time as well. I think that's a good test of standard. Let's take this up another level. Okay, so this isn't perfect, but I've had to extend the monopod considerably in order for this to work. As with this mode switched on, it does crop in by 1.4 times. But has it positively or negatively affected the IBIS? Again, this is a bit of an acid test because I'm walking on such uneven ground to begin with, and I've got a very heavy camera at the end of a monopod, but hopefully it's better than the last test. So the reason these proxy recordings excite me is literally because I might not have to bring my Atomos out now when I'm recording videos, because I often like to shoot ProRes because it edits so smoothly in Premiere Pro. But these proxies would mean I can have less kit out in the field, which means less weight, which means less points of failure, and ultimately it's all about efficiency. Now in that video I mentioned hopefully I could do some wildlife documentaries in the future, and ideally I'd rather not bring much kit out with that, because I'm going to have a lot of other kits. I'm going to be in the field for very long periods of time. I'm going to need drinks, snacks, etc. So how is this? Is this good? Is this working? I think that's a good enough test. But for me, I like to be behind the camera usually, and I think if you're a video making professional of some sort, you're probably going to be behind the camera too. So I'm going to pass this camera over to somebody to show what it's like when you're using it, how I think you would be using it, which is handheld, a steady shot. You don't want to you still want to avoid shake. You don't want to introduce any shake on purpose. You want to be as steady as you can, even with IBIS switched on. And I'm going to show you what it's like for maybe an interview situation where you can't afford to bring a tripod with you. Well, it feels great to actually let go of all of that. That's really heavy to carry around, so I don't know how you do it, vloggers. Thanking my awesome girlfriend again for helping out here, my long-suffering girlfriend. And basically, this is the camera without any image stabilization on at all. How is it? Is it steady? Does it look okay? And this is how I'm likely to be using the camera with these modes. Especially, say, for instance, I'll go to some sort of conference and I don't want to bring a big heavy tripod, or I'm running around the floor at some sort of Comic-Con style event. Don't want to bring tripods. This is where this technology is absolutely amazing. Now, I'm going to go through the modes again, but I'm going to carry on talking about proxy files as I do so. So this is without Stabe. I'm going to go to mode 1. Okay, so this is mode 1. How is it looking? Is it looking okay? Let me know in the comments how all of these are looking. So going back to proxy files, as I previously just mentioned, the ability to take this out into the field now and have backup recordings and have those HD H.265 low megabits per second files means I can record a lot of footage and not have to bring so much kit out with me, so it really improves efficiency. And I really enjoy recording ProRes, and I suspect there's still some benefits to that. I've seen a lot of tests comparing ProRes to different types of RAW, different types of H.265 and .264, and sometimes the ProRes files look better in a side-by-side. However, I don't think that the difference is that big, but maybe I could do some more side-by-side videos in the future. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. Now, let's switch up to level 2. Okay, so now we're on level 2. We've introduced E-Stabilization. So E-Stabilization works on the sensor itself, and it will crop in a little bit, and then it will start correcting for any extra shake. Now, you can actually do this with Warp Stabilizer in Premiere Pro, but I don't know about you, I always find Warp Stabilizer a little bit hit and miss. Whatever you can get right in the field, I highly recommend. Now, as far as proxy recordings go, I think you get the idea. So the next part of this, I'll actually demonstrate how to actually edit this footage and switch it back to the full HD footage. Is this a good representation of E-Stabe? Now, Lumix already has the best full frame image stabilization out of any camera, it is class leading. So this should look great as is, but now we're going to punch in 1.4 times, but have an even more increased image stabilization factor. Okay, I've taken a few steps back and we've taken the E-Stabilization to its highest mode. So it's punched in 1.4 times, but it's going to allow for much greater ability to crop. Now, a little bit about the settings. I've already mentioned I'm shooting with the 24-105 because it has image stabilization in, combined with the camera that will give you dual IS. So body stabilization, lens stabilization, plus the E-Stabilization. This should be looking really pretty rock steady. It's not faultless. You've still got to hold the camera steady as well, but this should give you a really good idea. Now, before we move on to the next part of the video where I'll show you how to edit those proxy files, I'm going to do a short montage. This is another area where I would use this footage. That is to gather B-roll really quickly. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that short montage. Now I'm actually going to show you how to turn your proxy footage back into your regular 4K, high bitrate, high resolution footage. Now there's different ways of doing this. I'm just going to show you the way I do it, and I'm doing it in Premiere Pro. First thing you're going to need is to make sure you've downloaded that firmware. If you haven't, make sure you go and do that right now. Then, once you've downloaded the firmware, you're going to go to your camera, you're going to press menu, you're going to go to the first icon, the camera icon, and you're going to scroll down to the film reel. You're going to jump across, you're you're going to make sure you're set your video at C4K or under. It will not do this in 6K. Then you're going to scroll down a little bit more to Proxy recordings, and you're going to click on Proxy. And if you go down to the middle option, you can choose what sort of quality level you want your Proxy recording to be at. Now, I was going to shoot straight down the middle, and I've done that for this video, but I think because I could possibly use this as backup video as well, in the future I might shoot at 23.98 in 12 megabits per second, but that is completely up to you. If you go down to the bottom as well, there you've got your 4 megabits. So for now, we'll just stick to the middle. Now, I've purposely gone on to this mode, and I'm going to explain more in a moment, because we can include the real-time LUT. Now, this real-time LUT will only work on the Proxy file. Once you put it into your computer and converted it, the LUT will no longer be on that high-quality footage. However, it will give you a good idea of how you're editing that footage. So when you take your LUT that you might have created on your computer, or you might already have downloaded, like Nicest LUT, you can reapply it, and all of the editing should work exactly the same. It would be nice if this applied to the final high quality LUT as well. Maybe that can happen in the future, but for now, this is how it works. If you say, for example, press the Q button and you go across to Vlog, oops, we'll go across to Vlog here, and then we press menu, we go to Proxy. That option is no longer available. So if you want to edit with your real-time LUT, you're going to press Q, and you're going to go across to LUT, and you're going to make sure you've got your LUT assist on, and that it's all set up to see on screen, and that it can be baked into your footage as well. So that should have been everything set up. You're just going to go across, make sure you've turned it on, obviously. Once everything is set on, you're going to record your footage, then you're going to take it to your computer, and you're going to edit your Proxy file on your computer. Now, the other file, the high quality file, will save to the other memory card. So once you've swapped everything over into your computer, I just put them into a different sort of like file and keep them separated just to make sure they don't get mixed up. Then you can swap them over, and I'll show you how to do that right now. Okay, so now we are in Premiere Pro, and I'm going to show you how to edit those Proxy files. So I mentioned that I'd created a folder, I called it footage. Now you can just take the whole footage, drag it into Premiere Pro, and if you click inside that folder, you've got your Proxy and your full range footage there. So a mistake you might make is importing your Proxy files onto your timeline. What you're actually going to do is import your full resolution video files onto your timeline. I say import, I mean place. So we place that full resolution file onto your timeline. But what we want to do is create a Proxy, obviously. So what you want to do is go over onto that full range file. You want to go right click, Proxy. You want to go attach Proxy. Then from there, you want to find that file. So a drop down menu will come up over on here on the left. And you want to go into your Proxy file. And then you want to click onto that file and click OK. And then you'll have a little icon, a little blue icon pop up over here, which is letting you know that your Proxy is either on or off, and you can toggle it with this button over here. This is your toggle Proxies switch, so off and on. Now, if that's not there, you can go to the little plus icon. It'll bring up this menu, and you can literally just drag and drop that icon down here, and it's as simple as that. So once that's drag and dropped onto your timeline, all you do is, if you want to export it, I press Ctrl E because I've still got my computer set up to like Final Cut 7 from 12 years ago for some reason. I send it to Media Encoder. Once that's ready to go, we can click in here and we can see that it will be exported to the full resolution. It will not be exported as the lower resolution file, which is really, really good to know. So now we have done a much more robust test of the image stabilization. We've done a vlogging test. We've done a more real-world test with how I would use the camera. We've done a short montage showing how we can use it to gather B-roll. And we've done it all with Proxies as well. And then I've shown you how to edit those Proxies together. If you're going to use any of those features, let me know in the comments below. And if you found any value in this video, then hit the sub button and the bell icon to keep notified of my future videos. Catch you next time.